Before you drop hundreds of dollars on a full set of golf clubs, we've got to talk about the biggest money mistake you can make right out of the gate. I'm talking about dropping cash on a cheap box set that literally falls apart after 3 rounds, or overpaying for a mismatched set of used clubs that actually makes the game harder to play. You definitely don't need to spend $1,000 to get playable gear, but you absolutely have to buy smart. Today, we're breaking down package sets versus used individual clubs to see which route actually saves you money.
And hey, before we get deep into the details, keep this in mind. Later on, I'll show you the one critical thing most buyers ignore, and it costs them every single time they build a bag. It's a tiny detail that completely ruins a good deal, so make sure you catch that.
So here's the situation. You walk into a store or you open a website and you are immediately hit with 2 distinct paths. Option 1 is the boxed package set. You get a driver, woods, hybrids, irons, a putter, and a bag, the whole shebang. It's all there for one price, usually in the low to mid hundreds. And man, it looks incredibly convenient. Option 2 is hunting for older, high-quality used individual clubs. Now on paper, putting a bag together piece by piece can seem like a massive hassle.
But this is exactly where most golfers waste money. They grab that cheap package set because the price tag is low, but the clubs feel totally dead. The shafts don't fit their swing, and they end up upgrading within a year anyway. That original purchase, completely wasted. Or on the flip side, they go the used route, buy random individual clubs with zero thought about fitting, and end up with a bag full of mismatched feels that makes them want to quit the game entirely.
Let's jump into Section 1, our head-to-head value breakdown.
When you stack them up head-to-head, you have to look at forgiveness, shaft fit, and durability. As an average golfer, a forgiving driver and cavity back irons will save you more strokes than anything else. Used name brand clubs win big here, mostly because they were designed with better, premium technology. Shaft fit matters too. Package sets generally just give you regular or stiff with absolutely zero customization. The used market, it gives you highly specific options. And durability? Think about it. If you buy a 3-year-old Callaway club and take care of it, you can resell it later for pretty close to what you paid. Package sets just have incredibly weak resale value.
Which brings us to the core question you have to answer for yourself. Are you okay with getting a generic full bag instantly, choosing pure convenience over quality? Or are you willing to build a high-quality bag piece by piece, putting quality first? Your answer to that single question decides which path actually makes sense for your game.
Now, the cheaper option is not always worse. Here is the catch. Used individual clubs absolutely win the overall value category, but only if you buy smart. An older model driver from a major brand and a set of game improvement irons from 2 generations ago can often cost less than a mid-tier package set, and they'll perform noticeably better, for sure. But you have to check current prices because the used market shifts quickly. Before you buy, you need to hear this next part. Here's a quick warning for beginners looking at the absolute bottom of the market. If you see a package set for under $200, be very careful. The club quality at that price point is incredibly basic. The shafts are generic, the grips wear out fast, and the metal is often inferior. You might save money today, but you'll outgrow that set so fast as your swing develops.
If you are going the used route, here's a smart buyer tip. The iron set is the single best place to spend your budget. Think about it. You use your irons on almost every single hole. A used set of cavity backs from a reputable brand can cost less than half the price of new ones, and they'll play just as well for an average golfer. Focus your money right here first.
Most buyers skip this and regret it later. Remember that thing I mentioned earlier? Don't skip checking loft gaps when buying used clubs. The biggest mistake is buying a bag and ending up with 5 clubs that all do the exact same thing, while leaving a massive distance gap where you actually need a club. Make sure your driver loft, hybrid lofts, and iron lofts flow evenly. It's far more important than having the same brand name stamped on every single club head.
Moving on to Section 2, the brutally honest truth.
Let's break down the reality of package sets. On the pro side, it's one price for a full bag. You do zero research, everything is brand new, and you get a factory warranty. It's incredibly fast and easy. But the cons are very real. You're getting lower quality materials, generic shafts that might actually ruin your swing mechanics, and terribly weak resale value. When you're done with them, they're basically worth nothing.
Now contrast that with used individual clubs. The pros, amazing quality per dollar, name brand technology at a fraction of the cost, and endless spec options to actually fit your swing. But the cons? Well, you have to do the research yourself. You give up that factory warranty entirely, and most importantly, you take on condition risks. Building the bag takes a lot of time and patience. If buying used, this next point matters a lot. When you're checking condition, you need to know the deal breakers. Buying used clubs in terrible shape just because the price is low turns a good deal into a bad deal instantly. Normal scuffs and scratches on the sole, totally fine. But a cracked shaft, a dented crown on a driver, loose hosels, or rust on the iron faces, those are absolute deal breakers. Walk away.
Section 3, let's talk about who fits where.
You should buy a package set if you're a complete beginner with zero gear, you're on a very tight budget, and you just want the fastest way to hit the range. It's a learning bag, plain and simple. Brands like Callaway Strata or Wilson Profile do this job pretty well. But definitely skip the package set if you already own some clubs and are just looking to upgrade. Those generic specs will just hold you back.
On the other hand, you should buy used individual clubs if you're a mid-handicapper or a beginner with a mid-range budget who plans to stick with the game long-term. This is for the golfer who wants better feel, better forgiveness, and is willing to do a little homework to get it. You'll get way more out of your money this way.
Next up is Section 4, better value alternatives. If neither of those feels perfectly right, here are two smart alternatives. First, buy a brand new value driver to get modern technology and a fresh warranty, then fill the rest of your bag with used irons and wedges. Drivers take a serious beating, so having a fresh one is nice, but used irons are perfectly fine. Second, hunt for previous generation package sets on clearance. When new models drop, last year's box sets get heavily discounted. You get brand new gear with a warranty, just without the newest paint job.
This next part changes the final answer completely when it comes to allocating your budget. Do not pay extra for the fairway woods in a package set, specifically the 3-wood. For most mid-handicappers and beginners, a 3-wood is incredibly hard to hit off the deck anyway. Save your money early on woods and wedges, and spend the bulk of your budget on a solid set of irons and a putter you trust. You can always add woods later.
Finally, Section 5, the final value verdict.
Here's the final ruling, and I won't sit on the fence here. Beginners with no gear, get a decent package set. Keep the budget reasonable and use it strictly to learn the game. Mid-handicappers or players sticking with the sport for years to come, buy used individual clubs. You'll get better quality, a better fit, and it literally saves you money in the long run because you won't have to replace them next season. Find the middle ground between price and quality, and that's exactly where the value lives.
Now I want to hear from you. What's your club budget looking like right now? Are you leaning toward a package set or building a used bag? Drop your handicap, your current gear, and what you want to replace down in the comments. I'll reply with some direct suggestions to help you out. If this explainer helped you think a little differently about your next purchase, subscribe for more honest budget golf tips. See you on the next one.